Well, hello and welcome to the new BMW X2, and this is the first drive of the car, the sort of first impression, meeting up with the car. So as you can see clearly from the face of it, it is a BMW X1 with a different body of the car. But anyway, let's go around the car and let's talk a little bit through. So this is the electric version, as you can see. So we have this huge grille that isn't sort of the air isn't coming through because it doesn't need to. Then we have the air curtains here, which of course is very important for the aerodynamics. Now if we go around to the wheels, these are still winter wheels on winter tires, so we have 18-inch wheels with the tires of 225/50. So yeah, and in terms of suspension, this car doesn't use the double wishbone, it seems, but it uses the McPherson in the front instead. We also have quite a big positive caster actually here on the front. So yeah, now coming to the conception of the car, so we have a slightly longer wheelbase, 22 millimeters longer wheelbase, which is better for the comfortability of the car, but also slightly to the stability of the car. And now here we have the very slightly sloping roofline of the car, being an SUV coupe, which makes it a little bit more elegant than before, but also more aerodynamic. The previous generation had 0.29 coefficient. This one has only 0.27, so this really helps it. That's really nice. Now let's go around to the rear of the car, where we have a completely new design. Of course, you can make your impression to it, but another advantage of the SUV coupe is here under this fifth door. So let's open the boot, and the improvement here is that it has 515 liters. So compared to the 470 liters before, this is a marginal difference. It is much bigger, much more practical to your everyday needs. And it's also quite a practical boot. So you have this netting here, side netting here. You also have another storage here on this right side. You also have a 12-volt socket there, and the LED, very strong LED. And also the opening of the boot is very wide. The access to it is very nice. So yeah, really, really good in this regard. Yeah, now that we're here at the rear part of the car, I always tend to look at the geometry of the wheels, and we have on both axles negative camber, and we have a slightly bigger negative camber, it seems, on the rear axle of the wheels, and it also has a slight toe in. So that's what I want you to know. Now also let's have a look into the rear of the car, where I'm not sure if it's going to be that noticeable, this sort of rise in the wheelbase of 22 millimeters, but as you can see, me being a 1.9 meter tall person, it is quite compact for me, so my knees are touching the seat ahead of me. Yeah, so it is still a compact crossover in here, as you can see. But we have some good practicality, so we of course have an armrest with cup holders, huge door bins, we have two USB-C connectors, it has to be, and the air vents, and also a huge panoramic sunroof. And also in terms of the premium, we have a Harman Kardon stereo, and everything feels very sturdy, very German-like, so very good quality in here. The only thing I don't like is this rear plastic cover, that when your knees are touching it and you're a tall person like me, it can give you a little bit of pain sitting in the back. And well, we can have a look under the bonnet. So let me show you typical BMW system. So even though this is not the IC variant but the electric, we can have a look, and what we have here is a massive cover. I don't know if we can open it somehow or anything. No. So yeah, so this is where the engines would normally lie, but of course this is the BMW i30, the X2 i30, and so there is no engine, but there is loads of electrical components under here. Yeah, so that would be to the walk around of the BMW X2. And now let's take it for a spin further down the road, and let's see how the new BMW X2 actually drives. Oh, well, hello, and I welcome you in the new BMW X2, or let's say the X2 because it's the new generation of the X2. So, welcome in the interior, and this is the interior. It is exactly the same as you might expect from the X1. So, sort of a very human-oriented interior, very practical interior as well, but still very BMW. So in terms of practicality, it really is practical because you have these two cup holders here in front of you, two USB-C connectors, you have this sort of tray for the phone, and you can lock it up there so it doesn't fly when you're driving dynamically with your BMW. And then there is this floating console, and underneath there is massive amount of storage for all sorts of things. So really good human interface in this regard. And also this armrest looks very sort of a flat, so you wouldn't expect there is a space there, but there is. You can open it to the side, and there is quite a bit of space for, I don't know what, some cables maybe. Yeah. And then with this new generation of BMW interior, of course, we lost the rotating knobs that we were used to, and we only have this rotating knob for the volume here, but we still have the button to change modes with, and we have all the important stuff here. So we start the car through here, we have this triangle when we need to stop for an emergency here, and we change the drive, neutral and reverse through here, and also the electronic parking handbrake. So let me start the car very quickly. And that's a typical BMW electric sound when you start up the car. And let me also change it right now to the sports mode, because that's what I always do with these cars. We need to wait for the interface to load up. Okay, so we can right now use this volume knob and change the mode. But look at this, this is not the fastest that I'm used to with BMW. Okay, so we now have it in the sports mode, so we have all 313 electric horsepower available. This is the top of the Ranger 30, the iX2 30, so we have really loads of power. It does 0 to 100 in only about 5.6 seconds, so really amazing. But we also put the wipers because it was raining. And yeah, so maybe one thing that I didn't tell you, it's a very typical BMW quality. Nothing squeaks here. You have very nice touch materials. Now I notice also a very nice ambient lighting. Anyway, let's go for a drive. So the new BMW X2 is of course slightly bigger than the previous generation. It mostly is longer in terms of length, but also in the wheelbase, which is 0.22 centimeters or 22 millimeters longer than before. And this obviously makes for a more comfortable ride. Rear legroom is also increased, so it is good in this regard. And then I was expecting that when I sit into the car, it will feel sort of a really rather unnecessarily big, but it still feels very compact in here. You also have this sort of a very small front windscreen, which gives you very good privacy, it feels. And also I sort of like it because the wipers are very quick, they don't need to be large. So yeah, very good in this regard. And then you have, as typical with the premium car with BMW, you have fantastic quietness. The noise isolation in here is really nice. You can almost whisper to your passengers, so I really do like that. And you put the wipers to auto. Then there is the steering. This car, as I was looking underneath the arches, doesn't use the double wishbone suspension. It looks like it uses the McPherson McPherson in the front and Multilink at the back. And it also isn't the most stiffest car. It's really sort of a setup for comfort. Yeah, and when you do these sort of maneuvers, you can feel the softness in it, even though we are in the sports mode. And I'm not sure if we have adaptive suspension here, but the drive is very refined, very comfortable. You still get very good amount of feedback from the car through the seat and through the steering wheel being the most important, of course, in this regard. So yeah, it's a really nice ride, I have to say. And also this is an electric car, so you should feel the weight of 2 tons that it has. But really, I mean, when you're cornering, doing these changes, it really doesn't feel like that. And that is a thing that BMW can give you, that they make a heavy car, but it doesn't feel, from the driving standpoint, being a very heavy car. Now, of course, the range we cannot test. It should be up to 450 kilometers of range. We cannot test it because we only have a car for 150 kilometers and a few hours. So yeah, maybe to the driving, and particularly to the electric driving. So you can put it into the B mode with this sort of a knob, and you have this good boost pedal here for the steering wheel to give you more performance. But what I think really is very important with electric cars is to give you these pedals to be able to set up the regeneration manually on the drive. So I'm really sort of missing this. But then, of course, you push this boost pedal for 10 seconds, you have maximum power, and this is it's a very decent power, I have to say. Sweat. Really, the acceleration, this car has no problem with it, even despite having 2 tons. So really good in the dynamics regard. From standpoint of engines, so you can choose from the petrol, diesel, and this electric. So yeah, you can choose what you like. That is important. Yeah, let's try 0 to 100 kilometers here. I'm not gonna push through the corners, but the steering, it feels reasonably nice, although a little bit sort of slightly numb, because it's of course electric power steering. But yeah, but it's okay. It's very precise. It's extremely precise, and the car behaves very quickly to your inputs, and that's what I think is important. So let's stop off here on this bit of road, and let's try how it accelerates. Okay, so nothing's going, boost, bang. And that's 100 kilometers there. Yeah, so I think it was around 7 or 6 point something seconds. So really good dynamics in this regard. And even now, when you're doing like 90, you need to overtake 900, 110. So yeah, very good in this regard. Very decent. Yeah. So is it a bad thing that the X2 became a SUV coupe? Not really. It gives the car much better aerodynamic coefficient as well. From 0.29, it is now 0.27, which is very aerodynamic and very good for the range, but even for the fuel consumption with your petrol powered car or diesel powered car. So really good in this regard. You have bigger boot, 515 liters instead of 470 that was there before. That's another advantage of this shape, and more legroom. So yeah, overall I think an improvement for the X2, and it still feels reasonably compact. So yeah, that would be the first feelings from the BMW X2. Keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos of course coming on very soon, and I hope to see you in the very next video. In the meantime, goodbye.